Back when I was a young weeb who had just graduated from weeb school, aka watched more than 100 anime and refused to shower for a week, I started getting tired of the battle shounen anime that usually featured a trio of somewhat likable characters that punched anything they did not understand. Now, the classics still hold a special place in my heart, but every new action anime that came out started to feel like it was trying to become something we had already seen. So I was pleasantly surprised when I first watched Jujutsu Kaisen. Everything from the characters to the world building felt like a fresh take on the all too familiar formula that had me yawning in my seat in the past. One thing I especially loved about Jujutsu Kaisen is the sheer amount of badassery on screen at any given time. From deadly cursed spirits to powerful sorcerers, the series had no shortage of characters that would easily solo other anime universes. However, even among these powerhouses is a rank of characters so broken that all of them had to be nerfed by plot. Of course, I'm talking about the 4 special grade sorcerers. Doing what this channel does best, we are going to rank the special grade sorcerers in Jujutsu Kaisen from weakest to strongest. Kicking off this list with a hot take, we have Suguru Geto as the weakest special grade sorcerer. For the sake of canon accuracy, I will not be talking about Kenjaku once he takes over Geto's body. Now, seeing as there are only 4 officially recognized special grade sorcerers in the JJK world, you can imagine that even the weakest would be enough to warrant a national crisis with little to no effort. Therefore, I will save us some time by mostly focusing on unique techniques and broken feats, rather than hand-to-hand combat and other vanilla stuff. What puts Geto lowest on this list is by no means weakness. Rather, the other special grade sorcerers are just that much more beastly and destructive. When it comes to Geto, however, the series heavily implies that he earned his special grade status due to his broken cursed spirit manipulation technique, rather than raw stats. With thousands of cursed spirits simultaneously at his disposal, Geto is free to play Pokemon and end his opponents without lifting a finger. While that technique in itself is certified hacks mode, Suguru does not have a lot else going for him. For starters, the peak of his abilities is shown in the JJK Zero movie, but he's still lost to Yuta. Not to mention, Geto is the only special grade sorcerer who lacks reverse curse technique, which puts him in a major disadvantage against deadlier foes like domain level monsters. As to why he is the lowest on this list, well, he lost to Yuta when he was not even fully trained. While I fully believe Gege had to nerf him and write him out of the show early for Kenjaku to take his place, Geto relied heavily on numbers and strategy when it came to battle, instead of raw burst damage. From what little we did see of him on screen, we can deduce that his cursed spirit manipulation technique is cracked, but not Geto himself. This becomes evident during his fight against Rika and Yuta when he uses his maximum Uzumaki and combines over 4,000 curses capable of immense destruction. However, it was not until Kenjaku acquired Uzumaki that we got to see the technique's true potential. While Geto was a well-written character who happens to be a combat and strategy expert, he is no match for the other special grade sorcerers, like the camera-shy and evasive Yuki Tsukuma. What earns Yuki her strange reputation is the fact that she does not take on missions, but that is simply because she does not agree with the ideas of the higher-ups. Instead, she takes the rogue badass route and goes about ridding the world of curses in her own unique way. In fact, she is such a powerhouse that Jujutsu headquarters made her a special grade sorcerer while being in the dark about her true potential. Unlike Geto, Yuki is a reverse curse technique user, which already gives her a huge edge in battle. However, all of that healing and damage negation would be useless if she did not have the raw destructive power to back it up. Fortunately, Yuki hits like a truck, thanks to her Star Rage ability, which was enough to send Kenjaku flying with barely any effort. Star Rage massively adds virtual mass without slowing Yuki down, so a single clean punch hits absurdly hard and spells imminent doom for the poor sap on the receiving end. Moreover, she has a Shikigami partner, Garuda, for combo attacks. So it is like a buy one get one free deal, but for ridiculously overpowered baddies. Not only did Yuki hold her own against Kenjaku, which in itself is laudable, but she also forced him to reveal his anti-gravity technique. What stops her from a higher place in this ranking is how Gege criminally underutilized her in the series. Aside from her canon loss due to a bad matchup, Yuki has never shown a full domain expansion, and this lack of domain counterplay actually led to her doom. While she is indeed a raw power monster, Yuki relies too heavily on hand-to-hand combat. Moreover, she lost to Kenjaku despite her Star Rage and last resort Binding Vow black hole ability that should have ended him, which is quite BS if you ask me, but The show must go on, I guess. If Akutami has decided to go the other route and tapped into Yuki's full potential, she would easily give the top special grade sorcerer a run for their money. Before we get to the best, though, let's talk about the second strongest special grade sorcerer in Jujutsu Kaisen. Of course, who better to warm that number 2 spot on the bench than my beloved Yuta? I absolutely love this character, and to be honest, I wish Akutami had settled on making him the protagonist of the series instead of Itadori. Aside from being effortlessly cool and having one of the most fleshed out backstories in the series, Yuta is insanely strong. It is canonically stated that he has the highest reserve of cursed energy, even higher than Gojo. Aside from that, the queen of cursed spirits, Rika, acts as a second fighter for him and stores tons of weapons to be used in combat. If that was not overpowered enough, how about an all-powerful copying ability that can copy all cursed techniques? This is shown when Yuta effortlessly copies Inumaki's cursed speech, one of the coolest techniques in the entire series. In my humble opinion, with just a few words, he was able to wipe out all of Geto's lowly goons. Other shown copy abilities allow him to summon back Shikigami to do his bidding, and even manipulate the sky like a tangible surface, courtesy of Takako. Luckily, unlike Yuki, we get to see the full potential of this when Yuta uses his domain expansion, authentic mutual love. With this domain expansion, he summons a domain that resembles a grim battlefield, complete with countless katanas wedged into the ground. Each katana is a technique that Yuta has copied over the years, and inside his domain, he is free to use any of them with the additional benefit of the domain sure hit effect. As a sweet bonus to this, Yuta can copy Limitless, which grants him access to Gojo's Infinity, Blue, and even the beastly Hollow Purple, but he cannot properly use them out of domain conditions. Need I go on about why my emo boy is insanely cool and overpowered? No? Well, sucks to be you since this is my channel. Aside from having canonically beaten Geto and the entire Sendai colony consisting of multiple special grade enemies, Yuta possesses the power to fully conjure Rika, so it is 2 powerhouses against 1, because ain't nobody surviving this massacre, boy! What stops him from being the strongest special grade sorcerer in the series is his lack of mastery over several techniques, like Gojo's Limitless, due to a lack of 6 eyes. Moreover, Rika has a 5-minute time limit that restricts the amount of chaos Yuta can bestow at any given time. Lastly, it should be noted that our boy Yuta, a true representation of simps worldwide, has a very emotionally charged fighting style, which often lands him in a pickle. Against the very best of the best, that can prove to be a death sentence. In the series, Gojo has claimed that Yuta holds the potential to surpass him someday, and he is undoubtedly the strongest normal sorcerer alive. But what happens when normalcy just doesn't cut it? Well, you get yourself a blue-eyed, white-haired hottie that fangirls will unapologetically simp for decades to come. I am talking about none other than everyone's favorite, Gojo Satoru. Now, I could end this video right here, and every one of you would go to sleep content, because what is there to say about the ceiling of power and the mangaka's version of Goku in the universe? I will forever stay salty and die on the hill that Sukuna won because of plot reasons, because Gojo's combo of Infinity and the rare 6 eyes is a recipe for peak efficiency. Not only does 6 eyes grant him top-tier sensitivity to cursed energy, but the mastery over Infinity makes him practically untouchable by most enemies. He can use Limitless to manipulate space and attract repel, and destroy matter as he sees fit. Moreover, he can combine red and blue to use the devastating Hollow Purple, an imaginary mass that destroys everything in its path. Moreover, Limitless allows him to close the distance between him and any destination, allowing for teleportation. Not only can he himself teleport to any location, but he can also teleport others to different locations. All of that starts to seem like child's play when you consider the scope of his curse technique. Gojo learned the anti-domain falling blossom emotion technique as a child, which is one of the only known loopholes around the sure hit attack of a domain expansion. This helps him hold his own against Sukuna's malevolent shrine in their showdown. Moreover, he can supercharge his limitless abilities like the ultimate blue, which creates a pseudo-gravitational singularity that distorts space on an atomic level, leaving only chaos in its path. However, the broken ability that puts Gojo in a league of his own is his unlimited void, which is his domain expansion. Gojo is able to conjure a domain that resembles space and floods the enemy with all kinds of information that leaves them overstimulated and weak in the knees, much like me at my office job. At least I get to come home. because the poor victims of Unlimited Void are toast with 0.2 seconds of Gojo casting his technique. That is enough time for the strongest sorcerer alive to end even the toughest of enemies. His domain expansion is on par with Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine, which says all you need to know about why he is the strongest special grade sorcerer in all of Jujutsu Kaisen. Keeping all of that in mind, it is no wonder that Gojo is the power ceiling of the series, with everyone else being compared to him and his extraordinary feats. He can single-handedly deal with a handful of disaster curses, and even after being sealed, continues to shape the plot and path of the entire story. That wraps up today's power ranking of the special grade sorcerers. I hope you enjoyed this video, and comment down below your favorite character from this lineup. Just know that if it is not Yuta, I will track you down and force you to take a shower.